All right, everybody. Welcome to the Blockbuster movie. Thank you. Welcome to the Blockbuster movie review. Today, I have with me my host, Richard Optimus 124 Brown. How are you doing today, sir?
Pretty well, sir. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Today, we are reviewing yet another movie, Star Trek Beyond. This is the third installment in the reboot of the Star Trek series, which the previous two have been okay thus far. So let's tell the people how we feel about the third installment, Richard.
I liked it. Um, I don't want to spoil anything about the movie, at least not in this segment. But the thing about the Star Trek movies that I can appreciate for each one of them is the fact that they're all episodic. Outside of the first one, you kind of get your idea of where they're going with it, and every movie after that, you don't necessarily. Let me say it this way: the plot does not hinge on the fact that you needed to know what happened previously. The essence of the characters, I think they got back to the roots of what Star Trek is about, which is about exploration and then the conflict between the way things are, the way things were. The portrayals of all the characters I really, really enjoyed, definitely more this time around. And it felt like an original story versus the last movie, which I thought the last movie was good, but it pretty much retreaded a whole bunch of things from the actual Wrath of Khan movie. Spoiler alert in that sense. The villain in this movie, definitely, it took a little long for me to get where the motivation behind the character was. But once it was there, it's like, yeah, I don't agree with you, but I understand why you're doing what you're doing. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this one. I would say I like this movie better than the second one, but not as much as the first one. If that makes it the first, I think it's kind of like the thing about the first one is that the first one had a shock value to it because it was completely different. And I'm not a Trekkie at all, so I don't really have a connection or a bias to that franchise as I would with like Star Wars or Transformers. So going into the first movie, it was like, oh yeah, this is great because I had little to no expectation of it. Whereas this movie, I kind of already had some hype mode built into it. And while I think this movie was definitely great, I still think that the first one just has a little more of a shock value to it, to put it in comparison. But overall, I actually enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to argue any of the points you made out there. I definitely thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought it was an original story as well. And to piggyback off of your point, you really don't have to know anything much about Star Trek or have to have seen any of the previous movies to actually grab these movies. And even if you go back and think about the previous three movies outside of Captain Kirk and Spock, they really don't have any backstory to go along with any of the other characters, but it still works because it's excellent storytelling. That's why I've enjoyed the previous two movies and this movie as well when I went to go watch it. Now, with this movie here, like you said, it was more of an original story. I'm a little bit of a Trekkie when it comes down to Star Trek Next Generation and Beyond.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, like the original Star Trek, I'm not so much as a Trekkie. I know who those people are, and I've seen a couple of episodes, but I've seen all of the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and the Voyager. I've seen all of those. Okay. Now, the Enterprise one, not so much. I didn't. That's the one series that everybody's like, they were reaching.
Yeah.
They were reaching on that one. But, yeah, like I said, it's really good movie. It's a really good movie. This one really definitely original story. When the plot twist happens, you're like, oh wow, that's why he's motivated to do this. You kind of like, it's a little bit of a shock value.
Right.
Unlike the second movie, Into the Darkness, where it was more like a retelling. Because I was sitting there like, oh, once you figure out it is Khan, you're like, this is like they've already fought Khan. But then again, you can go even back to the first movie when they found Spock on the planet and then they blew up Spock's planet. You're like, wait a minute, hold on. That kind of destroys the whole Star Trek universe because they go in search of Spock. So it's kind of like you have to look at these three movies here as a true reboot. Like, they're not just starting off with, okay, this is where the Star Trek movie series ended, or the TV series, or whatever you want to say ended, and they're picking up. They're saying, no, let's just go ahead and blow up our universe as we currently know it. Boom, and just go ahead and say, here you go, here's the new universe. It worked very well with X-Men Days of Future Past, and it's working very well with Star Trek. And I think that this series here is going to go places. It's going to go pretty far. But I kind of want to roll into now with the spoilers of this movie and talk about that plot twist, because I didn't see it coming. I don't know about you. Did you see it coming?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. And the only reason why, let me not say I saw it coming. I didn't see the motivation behind it, but there is like one TV spot that I happen to have looked at that actually showed Idris Elba as a human, which got to the part where they played the log in the movie. That was the one TV spot I saw, and I was like, I just ruined the movie, because now I know that he used to be a human. But you didn't really know like what happened and why. I mean, you still technically don't know everything. Like, he explained it in like 2 lines of exposition, and that kind of was about it. But I understand why he's pissed. I understand why the character Crawl, which I forgot his human name, but Balthazar.
Started with an E.
Balthazar, it's something, yeah. It's like I get his motivation. I understand why, because it's like, you know, he was a soldier, and then they put him into a place to explore things. Then you throw him out there into the world, and it's like, well, you know, now I need help, and y'all ain't coming for me. So, you know, because y'all want to play that game, when I come back, be ready. And so I get why he was motivated to do what he did. But back to your original point, it's like I didn't see what the motivation was. I saw, but I knew that was the piece of it, you know. And just because I saw that one TV spot, it didn't really show very much in that spot, but it showed Idris Elba as a human. It was like, okay, well, now I know that Crawl. I know Idris Elba was supposed to play the villain, and he's a humanoid, so it's kind of like, all right, now I can see where this is going. So it was good.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't see that TV spot.
Yeah. You'd be glad you did, because I was upset when I saw it, man. Because when you actually get to the part where it shows the log and it shows Idris Elba, you know, as a human, and explaining how he felt about the way things were with this thing, it's like, oh, well, all right. And even through the whole movie, they really don't actually touch on it until like I'd say the beginning of the middle of the third act is really when they touch on it, like him actually being like a person who was representing the Federation at one time. Because even in the movie, you had like a few lines where he would say, like the part when they were attacking the Yorktown, which sounds really weird because, you know, if you're from South Carolina, you think about the aircraft.
Thinking of the aircraft here.
Right. So, but you know, when they were attacking the Yorktown, like he said, "Oh, hello, my old friend." He was talking about his old ship, but they didn't really like. It's like all of that comes in full circle once you get to the end. It's like, oh, now I see like those little nuggets of stuff he was throwing in there, why it was the way that it was. So it was, yeah. Be glad you didn't see that, because that kind of like killed it a little bit.
Yeah, because like when Captain Kirk is looking at the ship logs with the communication officer, and she keeps running it back because he does say a phrase in the communication logs that she heard, and that's why she figured out that he was an actual human. I was like, man, had I known that knowledge prior, that's almost as bad as knowing Bruce Willis is dead in The Sixth Sense.
Right. It almost, it kind of destroyed that. And that's the one thing I'm hating about movie trailers, is like, I know they're trying to jam up things and make you wonder, but it was almost like in Terminator Genesis when you figure out that John Connor is like that nanomachine Terminator thing. It's like, yeah, well, now you kind of destroyed the whole reason why I would want to see it. I'm not saying that I enjoyed the movie. I didn't enjoy the movie. I just think I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't know that one piece of information going in.
That's 100% agree with you on that. But I just want to talk about the villain for a little bit, Crawl, because when he first came on the scene, and this is something that I really want to hammer in home, because I take it back to Guardians of the Galaxy with the Destroyer. I forgot his first name. Oh my gosh,
Right.
Rowan the Destroyer.
No, Ronan the Accuser.
Rowan the Accuser. Yeah, in that movie, he was like a lackluster villain. Like you really didn't know why he was a bad guy in the movie, but from the start of this movie, how he ripped the Starship Enterprise in half, you kind of, at least at that point, you want them to get vengeance against him because of just that one act that he did there.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to see the crew get rescued by Captain Kirk. So you have that. And that motivated me to keep watching the movie and my interest, like, ooh, how's he going to save the crew? And then after he saves the crew, you're like, they didn't have the epic battle that you're supposed to have at the end of the movie to wrap this up. You're like, so why is the movie continue to go on? And then they bring in this other point about that he used to be with the Federation and that he now seeks vengeance against the Federation. And I was thinking, oh, wow, this is...
It gives him depth.
Yeah, it gives him depth to his character.
He's not just a mad. He's not just like an angry blue man running around. He's just like blowing stuff up.
He has a revenge plot, and this is the type of villain that I kind of wanted to see in all the movies. Like the only other movie that I could think of that had like a lackluster villain but was still good would be Captain America: The Civil War, because the villain in that movie, he had a revenge plot because they dropped the city on his family and killed his family, but he really wasn't the main, how should I say, antagonist of that movie. It was the rift between Captain America and Iron Man that made that movie great. But this villain here was probably the best villain of 2016 thus far. So
I see that.
I really appreciate Kroll as a villain in this movie. And it's kind of strange talking about a villain, like, oh, I'll watch this movie for the villain, because he kind of steals the show in this movie, because you know what Captain Kirk's going to do, you know what Spock's going to do, you know what Scotty's going to do. Like if you watch any Star Trek movie or any Star Trek episode, you know those are the guys that are actually going to do stuff. And shout out to Bones, he's always there with the comic relief.
Yeah, I like he was good. He provided that edge of like what's Keith Urban. He plays that character so well because he walks that line of where it's like sarcasm, but he's not a jerk with it. Like you want to laugh at it, but you know that he's still slightly disgusted in the capacity that he's being put in, especially the part when he was talking about being paired up with Spock. Yeah, like it's just like things like that where I think they nailed the character relationships better in this movie than the other ones, is really what I think that, and what's pretty awesome about it is that the director for the Fast and Furious movies is the one who directed this, and Simon Pegg, who is Scotty, wrote this movie or was one of the writers of this movie. So so this project, it's like there was a lot of, I guess best way I can say it, there's a lot of love in it. Like there's love for this franchise, and it's weird because when I was watching the credits, when the credits were rolling for the movie, you look at who the people are involved in this movie, and there are a lot of people who I think are going to be involved in this movie, who were involved in this movie, that are also going to be involved in the Star Wars franchise. Because J.J. Abrams is still going to be a producer for the next Star Wars movie. I think Simon Pegg has a writing credit somewhere for the next movie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if not for The Force Awakens. So it's like it's weird because it's like the world of Star Trek and Star Wars are creatively merging. It's like it's a really interesting time to be a fan of either one of these properties, because my fiance, she asked me, she was like, well, why isn't there a Star Wars and Star Trek movie? And I was like, well, listen, logistically, it would never happen. But I said the reason why it will never happen is because, Star Trek is based on a galaxy, on our current galaxy that is, several hundred years in the future, where Star Wars is another galaxy a long time ago. So the two worlds can, from a theatrical standpoint, will never meet. But it's like, the creative juices in both of those franchises seems like it's getting to a place to where they're not turning out anything bad. There's one point I wanted to touch on that my fiance actually caught on is that the way I don't know if you think about it, the movie is like we were talking about reboots. This movie is truly deconstructing the franchise as a whole because think about it, they destroyed the Enterprise. Like the Enterprise in the first movie was tried to be a one-to-one version of the 1960s television show Enterprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, they destroyed that ship. So now, going forward, they can have a complete, even though the outside of the ship looks the same, the inside of it, pretty much, they can do whatever they want. Like, because it's not the same ship.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because an interesting line in that movie before he went out on his exploration of the nebula was that they were building a ship that was faster and better than the Enterprise.
Right.
That they had finished. So I was kind of interested because you know the ship is going to get destroyed if you saw the trailer.
Right.
I was thinking, so is that going to be the new ship that he gets? So I was very interested in that. And speaking about blowing up the universe, did you catch the little, I don't know how to put this nicely, how they put it out there that Solo was gay in the movie?
Yeah, you know, and even that, you know, that's a whole conversation about because George Takei actually came out and said that he thought that was wrong for that character, and this is the man who played him.
Yeah, George Takei was the original.
Yeah, he was the original Sulu, right? And he was even like, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gay, but he don't have to be. I mean, it's just kind of like he thinks that it's one of those decisions that was made that was kind of like you're appeasing to a fan base, and like it's not saying, you know, it really should matter, but it's like if you're doing it, I don't know. It's kind of like just one of those things where it's like it was thrown in there. It was like, was there really a need? But I guess, hey, you know, it's 2016, bro. I mean, hey, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's not. It wasn't like there was a thing, but it was like the whole thing is like, you know, I guess is it to have that character, and is it like why that character? Is it only because of the fact that the actual person who played him was gay? Like, and it was just kind of like I guess that was kind of when I looked at it, I was like, like, is it just because George Takei is, and even he said he was like, yeah, I don't think that's really the direction he needs to go. But hey, whatever. He's like, he already made his money off of it, so you don't care.
I thought it was one of those things that they threw out there, like if you catch it and get it and kind of know why they did it, it was like, okay, congrats. I thought it was just something that they threw out there because, like you said, it's 2016. Let's try to get this audience here,
right?
The Star Wars bandwagon. But let's go ahead and let's get into our ratings of this movie. Richard, you go ahead and go first.
I don't have to say anything more. I mean, without like going too much more into it. Honestly, the only thing about the movie that was my gripe was the fact of the villain's motivation. It took a little too long for it to develop, and not saying like he was just a maniacal bad man until like the end of the movie. It's like it kind of was in the same vein of how Bane was this awesome dude, and then at the end you're like, oh, he's this compassionate teddy bear. But not in the sense of it made the villain weaker. In this case, it made his case stronger. It just took a little long for me. So other than that, was on my gripe from a movie, and I would say that this definitely is probably. I'd have to give it a B+. That's the only thing. If they would have kind of made the villain's motivations appear a little bit earlier, I think it would have been a little bit better. Because when you're watching a movie, it's like he's just this dude who just wants to kill everybody up until you get to the middle of the third act, and then you kind of see like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I had to give it a B+. Otherwise, it was a great movie. Definitely go see it.
Yeah, and my ranking, I'm gonna explain that. Still, Deadpool is still my favorite movie of 2016. So all movies have to be rated based upon Deadpool, and I'm not taking anything away. I just want to throw this out there that Captain America: The Civil War is a great movie. It's just that Deadpool came out first. It was better. So therefore, that's why Deadpool is at the top of the list right now. So, and I gave Deadpool an A ranking. Do I feel as though this movie is as good as Deadpool? I do not, but it's still worth the watch. It was an excellent movie. You should definitely go experience it on the big screen, whatever format you choose to watch it in. So with that being said, I also give it a B+ as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Now, upcoming, we have the movie that I've been waiting for ever since Ultimatum came out. Jason Bourne. Finally, Matt Damon's back.
Is this going to be the last one, or because you know what, man, I still need to see the rest of them. Like I need to find time between now and next week to see all of them.
Richard, let me tell you, the first three, the ones with Matt Damon, are spectacular.
The only one I've seen, I hate to say it, man, is the one with Jeremy Renner. That's the only one I've seen.
And look, shout out to Jeremy Renner, great actor. You're just not good at the Bourne series.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
Okay, so you've seen that one. Okay. You go back and watch the other three. And then think about that one with Jeremy Renner. You're gonna be like, what?
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
It's like, I put it to you like this. It's like you've played a video game. I'm sorry, you played just like the 5th installment in a video game and you haven't played any other ones. So you're thinking, oh man, this game is great. Why is everybody else hating this game? I thought this game was great. Then you go back and you play the other previous installments. You're just like,
Now I get it.
Now I get it.
Right.
Yeah. It really is. It's like light and day. The first 3 Bourne movies, like when they came out, I was thinking, yeah, this is pretty much better than James Bond. That's how good they were.
All right, let me ask you this. Did you have a trailer for the second Jack Reacher movie?
Yes, I did. Now,
all right.
The first one.
You're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. The first one was okay. Tom Cruise hasn't done anything bad in a long time. The first one was just okay. This one, it's like they were like, where did we screw up? Okay, let's take out Liam Neeson and put in Tom Cruise. And there you go. That's Jack Reacher 2. I mean, and I want to see it.
Here's the thing about Jack Reacher. Like, the books written by Lee Childs, when you read those, he is like this super badass who comes on the scene, whoops ass, solves a crime, and gets justice for the person who had wrong against them. That's basically what Jack Reacher does. You know,
he's the equalizer.
Yeah, pretty much the military equalizer, and it's always about a military crime. He's like Jag NCIS on steroids. Is what Jack Reacher is.
Okay.
The only thing he isn't is a judge in that movie. He's the executioner. He's the lawyer. He's
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, when you watch the first one, you sitting there and you're scratching your head like, Jack, no. Why is he just no? So I know Lee Childs, I hope, has something a little bit more to do about this one, so his book can be justified on the big screen, hopefully. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like you said, Tom Cruise movie, like you said, the only thing you're going to expect is action sequence and a run sequence.
Hey man, I already saw it in the movie. I said, oh man, here we go.
And, throwing either a motorcycle or a car chase in, you got a Tom Cruise movie.
Hey, man, except for Edge of Tomorrow. He didn't run. He didn't run in that movie. He didn't run. He ran at the very beginning of the movie for like 30 steps. And that was it. Like, because they were trying to catch him going down that hallway.
Yeah, I was about to say, when he was escaping, that was the only time he actually ran in that movie.
And then he got caught.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
So, speaking of Tom Cruise, I mean, the guy's in his 50s now. If you think about it, he has the Mission Impossible series, the Jack Reacher series, and he has the I just forgot. He's in the third one, I thought.
I mean, no, I think there's only 2. I mean, they've been flirting around talking about Top Gun coming back, which I don't. Yeah, I know. Like, sometimes some things are better left dead. I mean, it's possible, man, but I hope they don't do that one. I'm a little scared.
I would have liked to have seen the Top Gun sequel maybe 10 years ago when Falcon could have fit into a flight suit. But
yeah, but the reality of it is, man, it's like we know, like with Google, we now know that the planes they used as MiGs in that movie were just training jet planes. And yeah, I don't know. Let's just not do that. Let's let that one stay.
Yeah. So another movie I'm interested in seeing is Suicide Squad, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
So for Suicide Squad, they're actually going to portray Batman in the eyes of a villain. So instead of being the guy as a crime fighter who's solving crime and actually being a vengeful guy for justice, you're going to see him as a fearful person in the eyes of a villain, because the villains were always afraid of Batman. So I'm very interested to see that portrayal.
That'd be kind of cool. I am cautiously optimistic of that movie, because even though Batman v Superman had its flaws, it was a train wreck. It was a beautiful train wreck, and I say that in the sense that when you're watching it, you're like, I see where you could have went, but you decided to go left when you should have went right. But I see where you could have went. And you watch the whole movie, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. So with Suicide Squad, I want to believe that it can be good. And Jared Leto is going to probably do a very sadistic job as the Joker. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I think she's pretty much already stolen the show.
Well, yeah, because she's done comedy up until this point,
right? So I think she's going to bring something to the table that we probably don't expect, but it's like I want that movie to be good, so DC can finally be like, well, we got a team movie out there, bam, we got 2 of them, so beat that, Marvel, and we did it in like what, a year, so I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. And excuse me, I really, really want this movie to be great, but I'm again cautiously optimistic. I'd love to see what it looks like, but it's like I want it to be good. I do want it to be good, because I mean, hey, if it's good, then comic book fans will get to see more stuff. If not, then DC is going to wind up just fading into black.
Well, I kind of want this movie to be good, for the simple fact that I want Will Smith to come back in a franchise. Maybe he can get a couple Deadshot movies out there.
Yeah,
that's the sole purpose. Because I don't see Harley Quinn. I don't see her getting her own movie. I don't see Killer Croc getting his own movie. I don't see Solomon Grundy getting his own movie. I can't see Will Smith getting his own movie, just because the name Will Smith will put people in the seats, and you can make at least your money back with Will Smith in the market.
Now, switching gears about comic movies coming out, did you see the Wonder? Not Wonder.
No, I was going to avoid talking about that.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
It's something good to look at for 2 hours. How I feel.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to believe that a woman's been alive since World War II. I
mean, it's possible. It's straight. Hey, Captain America. I mean, let's face it.
I mean, hitting the I believe button on he got frozen. I mean, it's an easier pill to swallow than, she's just been fighting crime since the Second World War.
I mean, but she was made by Zeus.
Yeah. Okay. So, any movies you're interested in seeing, sir? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Let me think.
Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage.
No, man, whatever. I'm not even talking about that. The Keeping Up with the Jones. I don't know if you saw that trailer. It's a comedy with Zach Galifianakis and Gal Gadot and what's the guy's name from Mad Men? Don Draper.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about him.
I can't think of his name. His name escapes me right now. But anyway, pretty much it's like if a family had that was there in suburbia had Mr. and Mrs. Smith move in next door. And it's kind of what it is, and then they get involved, and it's a comedy. Zach Galifianakis lost a ton of weight too. He doesn't look different. He looks like Zach Galifianakis. He lost a bunch of weight. The only other I can't think of anything else that's coming out anytime soon, but I did love the trailer for Doctor Strange though.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange. It's like Marvel is like it's like, why do you make everything look good? Like, like Marvel has done such a good job to make sure that their properties look so great, as to where when you're thinking about it, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go see this, even if it's probably it might just be okay. And the actors that they have in it, none of them really do anything terrible. So again, like these are people who have actually, like, Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Tilda Swinton all have like been in that Academy Awards nomination circle. So I mean, it's not going. If it's bad, if this is Marvel's first bad movie, I'd be shocked. I don't want Black Panther to be that one though. It's too many brothers and sisters in that one for that one to fail. I don't want that to have that. Like, see, it's like, Black Panther has to be great, because then if not, like, we'll never get another one ever again.
We got Luke Cage coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, man, I saw that, man. I still have to watch, but I still haven't seen Daredevil and still haven't watched Jessica Jones yet. So I need.
Oh, wow! So we're gonna wrap this up so you can go watch Daredevil. You need to watch.
That'll work, man. That'll work.
All right. Once again, everybody, I want to thank you for watching the show. Catch us hopefully next week. We'll be back on for Jason Bourne, which is probably Matt Damon's last time playing Jason Bourne. So until then, stay classy.